Ah, the special relationship. Reagan and Thatcher, Bush and Blair, Obama and, well, whoever's running my country at the moment. One of these two. I read a theory once that our country is run by an albino mouse named Cecil, lives in Dagenham and controls the Prime Minister through telepathic mouse squeaking. It's an odd conspiracy theory, I'll grant you, but I've not yet heard it disproved. But that's all beside the point. I'm talking about the special relationship our two countries share, bonded by our love of films. Never more obvious is this bond than when we remake a beloved film or TV show and make a total hash of it. Or more often than not, we miss the point altogether. That's what this series is going to look at. Remakes. And because everyone likes to give remakes a bit of a good bashing, I've decided to come at this with an open mind, plus my token British politeness that's been handed down to me through generation after generation of shitty weather and crushing disappointment at sporting events. Still, chin up Richard, there's plenty of good remakes out there. Which one are we looking at today? Oh well, let's bite down on that stiff upper lip and try not to focus too much on the negative, eh?
Welcome to Wonderland Weather, here in our London headquarters.
Oh, this might not be pleasant. For those of you who don't know, The Avengers was a British television show that ran from 1961 up until 1969. It featured a suave English secret agent and his partner, who'd get involved in some ridiculous plot involving espionage and sneaky communist goings-on. Later, the show became more focused on science fiction and fantasy. Plots involved shrinking rays, body switching and giant angry cats. Basically, it was camp as hell and a lot of fun. Something that would be later described as a romp. If you get my meaning. The power of the show was not so much in its plot but in its production and writing. Our lead character John Steed is a phenomenally likeable chap and played with the utmost finesse by Mr. Patrick Macnee.
Steed.
Macnee captures something so quaint and refined about the traditional English gentleman. He almost starts to transcend the role and becomes the archetypal British secret agent. Well, apart from that other one, James, whatever his name is.
Bond. James Bond.
I know what you're all thinking. How can one man possibly hope to take on the communists without the aid of a bandana and copious amounts of sweat? That's right, he had a sidekick, and in my oh God, it's so bright! Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Emma Peel, played by Diana Rigg, was not the only sidekick Steed had, but by God, she's the only one I'm going to focus on. She was the most beautiful woman on the planet, and her character was more than a match for Steed. Classy and intellectual, Mrs. Peel stood tall in the chauvinistic vision of 1960s London, a role model for any young girl watching and an advert for the leather catsuit. As if the leather catsuit ever needed an advert. An astonishing screen partnership was formed, and one that's gone down in the annals of British TV history alongside Del Boy and Rodney and Wallace and Gromit. So, perfect pickings for a young buck of a movie exec to remake for a modern audience. Sigh. There's so much wrong with this film. So much wrong. Sometimes I get confused at films. I have to sit and think to myself, why did the director do that? What was the point? What did I gain? Now, I'm not a massively bright individual. Sometimes I need people to explain jokes to me and I get distracted by flashing lights and cute animals, so much so that driving is fairly dangerous. I remember once I lost my mobile phone. I spent half an hour looking for it before I realised it was in my hand the whole time. Now that's pretty dumb, so I'm going to put some of this down to my stupidity, but I have some questions about the Avengers film that really need answering, so if you can do it, please let me know. What year is it? Why is London deserted? Why are there two Emma Peels? Why is Eddie Izzard in this film? What's with that maze? Why is an evil corporation who can control the weather housed in the Lloyd's building? Why did they kiss? Why is Sean Ryder in this film? Why? 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 I think that's the biggest problem with the film. Everything in it is bearable. if you're willing to hum to yourself while Sean Connery's on screen. He won a Razzie for this performance, I might add. But we demand more from our films than half-baked ideas and liberal helpings of celluloid fluff, which is what this film's entirely made up of. I mean, Austin Powers was making fun of the Avengers 12 months before this film came out, and here we are a year later trying to take it all seriously again.
Good morning, Constable.
So, as with the television show, it's down to our two main characters to really bring out the... Oh god, it's so bright! I think this is just going to come down to personal taste, but Uma Thurman is a handsome woman. She doesn't quite deliver the performance of a lifetime. In fact, she got a Razzie for the performance. But she delivers another sort of Uma performance. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to describe. She's very like Uma in the film, you know? It's just like she was in Pulp Fiction and Batman and Robin. You can see her thinking to herself, I am acting. I am Uma. When she delivers her lines. Just look out for it in future.
Yummy.
Uma. If Thurman's performance is acceptable, but nowhere near as sophisticated as Riggs, Fiennes' portrayal of Steed, which won him a Razzie by the way, is, well, it's an abomination. He looks bored stiff throughout. McNee was suave, charming, delicate, powerful and completely watchable. Fiennes is just really, quiet and expressionless. It's like he feels if he's really quiet throughout the film, maybe no one will notice he did it. I'm not here really. They got Mel Gibson to play Steed. Mel Gibson hates Jews. It's a massive disappointment for everyone involved. The characters were so important to the TV show, but what made it a classic was the relationship they had with each other. It was a sort of will they, won't they connection that endeared them to the audience. In the new Avengers, the relationship has no chemistry at all. In fact, it's like oil and water. And that kiss. Oh, come on, man. It's Uma Thurman. It can't be that bad. Get your tongue in there. Audiences around the world were really put off by the Avengers. Those recently acquainted with the idea were put off by the surrealist plot and setting. And the Avenger diehards were really put off by the poor translation of the characters. Everyone else just didn't like the Avengers to start with.
You'll pay for that.
Sadly, I'm in the last category. I think the TV show is really charming, but a product of its time. I'm not really old enough to remember it first time round, so I don't have any fond memories like other people do. As for the film, it's an atrocious pile of shite. It should be tied up in a bag and drowned like a kitten. It's terrible. It's an horrendous piece of filmmaking that followed the lines of an old TV show and showed us why we don't make TV like they did in the 60s anymore.
I hope he was a baddie.
We've all just moved on. TV itself has moved on. Have you seen 24? It's amazing. The Avengers is 30 years too late. It belongs in a much more innocent time. A time when you could fight a supervillain with an umbrella and win. A time when London wasn't suffering with overcrowding. And a time when henchmen didn't carry guns. God, why don't you have a gun? Why don't you have a gun? You could have just shot her. You didn't need a knife. Dickhead. So, back to the special relationship. Now, the Avengers has been cemented in British TV history alongside The Saint and anything Ronnie Barker's ever been in. Unlike most, I'm not going to jump down the throats of Hollywood for remaking an old TV show. Those boys need to make money somehow. I think if anyone remade the Avengers, they would receive criticism from all sides. It's one of those untouchable icons of British screen that we get all protective over. Which one was better? Well, the original, obviously. It was always going to be. It was better on every single level. Well, apart from the special effects. Look at that stupid model plane. Oh god, it looks so stupid. It all boils down to perceived ownership of a product. I imagine the most vocal detractors of the Avengers movie were those people who watched the show as they were growing up and now feel that their memory of Diana Rigg's arse in a catsuit is being tarnished by some greedy American sat somewhere chomping on a cigar and bathing in champagne. I mean, don't get me wrong, the film is garbage, but the TV show wasn't always that brilliant.
That's a fiver you owe me, Major.
As a nation, sometimes I feel we can get really precious and overprotective about some things. Sometimes the best way to show you love something is just to let it go. Just let it go. Thanks for watching, guys. Goodbye. I am Uma.